Gaming Bolt presents 15 things hardcore MGS fans hate about Metal Gear Solid 5. What are some things that hardcore fans hate about Metal Gear Solid 5? Before we move ahead, we wanted to warn there is a spoiler in point number 1. An impressive but barren open world. Metal Gear Solid 5, especially the Phantom Pain, was praised for its open world design, but there wasn't a whole lot to see regardless of where you went. At times it feels like the modern day open world curse. Do you have a larger world or a denser one with more interesting sights? The Phantom Pain struck a decent balance by having enough activities in its open world, but by story design, the environments simply felt empty at times. The replacement of David Hayter. Kiefer Sutherland did a pretty good job as Snake throughout the Phantom Pain. Did it really make the replacement of David Hayter easier to deal with? For some perhaps, and for others, maybe not. That being said, it felt kind of odd to not have somebody so closely tied to the character simply replaced for no good reason. Long helicopter rides which can't be skipped. The helicopter rides in Metal Gear Solid 5 are pivotal in getting from one place to another. They're also long, like pretty long once you really get into the game, and they can't be skipped. Also, those opening credits before each mission, damn. They spoiled character surprises even before the mission started. Lack of any memorable boss fights. Metal Gear Solid as a series has always been known for its memorable boss fights. Whether it's Mantis in Metal Gear Solid 1, Olga in Metal Gear Solid 2, the boss in MGS 3, and even the climactic final battle in MGS 4. But in Metal Gear Solid 5, most of the bosses can be skipped or simply act as bullet sponges. There isn't even a final boss battle. GG Kojima. Lack of dialogue from Snake at times. Though Kiefer Sutherland does a relatively good job with his voice acting, there isn't a whole lot of dialogue from him compared to the previous games. Maybe it's Venom's character that facilitates the overall lack of dialogue, but it's kind of odd at times, especially in an instance where he doesn't react to Skullface during a Jeep ride.
To unite America and the entire world. The Major thought this was his friend's doom, but I think he never understood what she wanted. Before he ever walked or cried, even before he was born, his mother tongue was English. He doesn't know the pain of losing his own language. Not yet.
Episode 51 removed from base game. Episode 3 is probably often buried somewhere and may or may not exist in the first place. The whole conspiracy around it warrants a separate video, honestly. However, Episode 51 was very much confirmed and left off of the final game. It doesn't have anything important like, oh, Liquid Snake's entire plot and that resolution. So why not? While it does appear in the Collector's Edition, it's simply an 18-minute video rather than a playable section of the game. Almost everything with Skullface. As a villain, Skullface should be better than what we actually got. Given his involvement with Major Zero, it's odd that Skullface neither gets a ton of screen time or even a boss fight. Heck, in Ground Zeroes, you want to rip him apart for what he does to Paz, and instead you get laughable voice acting in some instances.
Who is doing this? Such a lust for revenge?
Lack of longer cutscenes. Hideo Kojima cited that Metal Gear Solid 5 would feature a lesser amount of lengthy cutscenes compared to previous games, instead stuffing plenty of narration into real-time set pieces and whatnot. The approach isn't all that bad, and don't get us wrong, the Phantom Pain has some really awesome cutscenes, like Quiet's Rampage or Huey's Trial. It's just that we missed the long, detailed cutscenes of the previous games that really lent to their cinematic brilliance. Empty Mother Base. So, you've got this floating tanker full of soldiers and elite weapons. What can you do? Well, you can cultivate your own zoo, maybe protect it from some invasions or something, and do a bit of shooting. That sounds all well and good, but the Phantom Pain released in 2015. Surely there'd be a bit more possible than just that. Unplayable battle gear. Remember that cool battle gear that was merely shown in cutscenes, and how you couldn't play it on the field, despite the fact that players could use tanks? Well, These weren't enabled for balance reasons, but we digress. We wanted to control this beast of a vehicle and wreak havoc, Kojima, and you failed us. Don't tease us with this awesomeness if we're not going to get it. Boring side ops. The side ops in the Phantom Pain don't really add much to the story, and while they can be fun with the first few missions, there isn't really much variety involved. Sooner or later you'll find yourself doing the same task for the 100th time. Decrease of indoor gameplay. Credit where it's due, at least with the emphasis on open world gameplay, there's more outdoors gameplay. But it's just that the ratio between outdoor and indoor gameplay is kind of skewed and not in a Metal Gear Solid 3 way. Like you'll be spending 99% of your time outdoors. It probably wouldn't be so bad if the outdoors weren't so barren, but we digress. Landing zones far away from mission. Traveling by helicopter allows you to choose your landing zone, and while it could be appreciated for exploring the map and completing side ops, why would you choose anywhere else except the closest point to the mission? It's a nitpick, sure, but we have to wonder all the same. Fob insurance. Do you wish you could do more with your mother base, like, oh, actually expand it? As it turns out, you can, and creating this fob, only possible online, will complement your resources. There's a slight problem though. Someone can invade your base and steal your stuff. So why not buy insurance for some of it, not all of it of course, with real-world money to the tune of $49.99. Here's why. It's friggin' stupid. Storytelling low points. Why was the body double in the end essential to the story? Why break the fourth wall at all and make the players believe they were Big Boss? It's like that twist in Metal Gear Solid 2 where you end up playing as Raiden, only more poorly handled, and that at least had a payoff with Raiden finding his own identity. What's the payoff here? Explaining Big Boss's emergence in Metal Gear 2? Weak.
I'm Big Boss, and you are too. No, he's the two of us together. Where we are today, we built it. This story, this legend, it's ours. We can change the world and with it the future. I am you, and you are me. Carry that with you wherever you go. Thank you, my friend. From here on out, you're Big Boss.
We hope you've enjoyed this video, so please consider subscribing to our channel. We do original content, reviews, graphics comparison, and much more, and try to upload a video every day. Thank you very much for checking us out.